All right, we're back. We're reading Almost Odis by me, Dusty Thompson. If you're following along, we're on page 189. We are trucking through this. We're going to be done here in the next, 20 videos or so. I'm doing this for y'all. I'm working hard for y'all. This is my 40th video, I think. Maybe 41st. That deserves a celebration of some sort. So when you see those little ads pop up on Facebook telling you to buy desserts, buy some dessert, mail it to me. I want to eat it. All right. We're on page 189, the blog dated Sunday, September 9th, 2012. Southern Hospitality? I recently read an article on CNN.com that listed the most diverse cities in America. The top 5 are all within an hour's drive of my current home, which is, as you know, is about 25 miles south of San Francisco. The clear majority of the citizens in this area are Asian and Hispanic, and I have learned all manner of things about other cultures I never knew. Like how there are differences between Northern and Southern Chinese, and not just in relation to height. How even if you have no way of distinguishing which South or Central American countries someone hails, woe be unto you if you mistakenly insinuate they're from the wrong one. To all you politically correct people out there, I have been assured in more than one dialect there is no place called Hispaniola or Hispania, so the catch-all phrase Hispanic is not any more popular than the dash designation of brown people. This discussion of differences in accents reminded me of my previous post and some of the more colorful language that my, and to my horror, Honey Boo Boos, remember them, family used more often than we should. I refuse to watch their show, but grudgingly admit I have heard or used sentences printed in these publications found by the gum batteries and candy bars at your local grocery stores. They recently were quoted saying "beautimus," which is familiar to and in use by my immediate and extended family. I hope against hope they do not use the term I am loath to admit I used at work recently. Several of my managers and I were discussing something, and I meant to use the term tiny, but instead, in a rare moment of letting my guard down, probably due to my mild Diet Snapple Peach iced tea addiction, I let fly a term my family uses when referring to someone short of stature. We say T90 instead of tiny. There is no way to recover from using that phrase, dear friends. You can't simply unsay it. You just have to stop that train, so to speak, and redirect the conversation. And while I was able to steer the discourse in another direction, I feel quite sure there were tongues just a wagging when I stepped out of the room. Recently, my new management trainee, Susan, stopped by to talk and asked me about my colorful language. It seems due to my dress, accent, and sometimes folksy vernacular, she finds me intriguing. Like lots of people do. Like something out of a Tennessee Williams, she said. As she is from the Midwest, she isn't used to Southerners outside of their natural habitat, or really inside it. She moved here from Michigan to start her new job, not expecting to be getting such a big dose of Mississippi right here in Silicon Valley. I have visited Michigan only once, but I'm a big fan due to Michigan being one of the more competitive Miss America states. They have had 5 winners, including the lady who was the catalyst for the social platforms which are now required for all contestants, Kaylani Ray Raffco. She's one of my favorite Miss Americas. She was an oncology nurse when she hula danced her way to victory in 1988 and spent her year as Miss America touring the country speaking about AIDS and hospice care. I got to meet her in 2011 in Las Vegas. I know another Michiganian, I looked it up, named Jason Morgan, from when I lived in D.C. He will one day be president. You heard it here first. I know precisely where each of these Michiganders, also acceptable, lived on the mitten. They do it like that. If you don't know what that means, you have never met someone from Michigan, as they will hold their hand up as if they are stopping you in the name of love and show you where they reside. If you look at a map, go ahead, I'll wait. You can see that the regular part of Michigan looks like a mitten, a giant Mrs. Field cookie cake of a mitten. What, I'm hungry. But a mitten nonetheless. They go like this and they point. I live here, or here. Ann Arbor's here, and Detroit's like up there, or whatever. Wait, it's up here. Anyway, that's what they do. The other part of Michigan, called, I believe, the Upper Peninsula, is part of their state, although no one seems to know how or why. It may have been stolen from Canada or Wisconsin. I'm imagining a frontier politician desperate for re-election sizing up a vacant lot across the water and paddling over to stake a claim for Michigan and using the votes of the indigenous peoples of Canada, who were kind and quiet and fond of socialized medicine, to remain in either the Senate or House, whichever one wastes taxpayers' dollars. I don't remember. It's no wonder Flint, Michigan, which is on the peninsula, according to Michael Moore, and it's up to your political leanings whether or not you believe him, died a slow, tragic death, as some towns do when the main employer, car factory, closes its doors. There was nowhere to go for fun except Wisconsin, and how many times can one wear a hat made of cheese before the reality of shame seeps into your conscience? That's actually a really bad example, as I have seen cheeseheads and who would voluntarily call themselves such. Each and every year in the stands at football games in the snow, bare-chested whether they should be or not. It doesn't seem to happen as regularly in the South. Of course, I'm talking about towns dying, not people who are inappropriately semi-nude in public. The resilience of southern towns is admirable. These hamlets, many of which are too small to warrant inclusion on most maps, can weather any storm, literal or figurative. They will survive when there is nothing left except a store, a church, and 3 houses. They may only be 5 people in 2 counties, they will retain their identity and always with a city limit sign, even if the sign states your simultaneous entrance and exit. Transylvania, Louisiana is where my mother's people are from. Yes, I know. I just ended that sentence with a preposition. That one too. Based on my last visit there in the late 1990s, there is a gas station, what used to be a cotton gin, a tiny elementary school, and some houses. But they still have a post office and a bake shop, and I dare you to suggest they are too tiny to be considered a town. Go ahead. I'll wait. Cities up north lose one store and the rest of the town is immediately shuttered, all citizens fleeing as if from a natural disaster. In the South, you close one sawmill in a town, someone will immediately open a business making t-shirts proclaiming Tater Junction used to be the home of the Sand Road Sawmill and selling them to Yankees who are lost on vacation trying to find the Mississippi River. Of course, those Yankees and the citizens of Tater Junction and all surrounding communities will be in need of all and sundry, well, sundries. So they will add purveyors of drinks, food, and other accoutrements like pecan logs and pralines. And the next thing you know, the Sand Road Sawmill is a flourishing mini-mall full of items that would have previously been donated to the White Outfit Sale at the Tater Junction Baptist Church, but are now advertised as antiquities of Southern heritage. You may be asking yourself why someone would stay in a place like that. My answer is there's only so far most Southerners will move before they plant their feet and say, that's it, we're home. As someone who was informed by his parents because we said so when he asked why we were relocating to Mississippi from Northeast Texas, I can attest to the fact that Southerners are not leaving God's country, and that particular designation stops not too far north of Memphis and not much further west than Dallas. Most of Tennessee we will take, Kentucky we're not so sure about. And the only thing West Virginia is good for is keeping Mississippi from being last place in education. I know, that's just downright unchristian. Not untrue, but definitely unchristian. As my mother always said, when you start acting like that, you know it's time to hush and go to bed. And with that, I bid you good night. Well, good night in the sense that I'm stopping this post. I've had more than a teeny bit of snap and I shall be up way past the time decent people have called it a day. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks.